Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again today, people. Today we have for Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 32, the crossover. Well, it's gonna be a two-parter. And a part one crossover with Kyuryuja. I have to say it because there's also a Sentai called Kyuryuja. It's a Kyuryuja, and it was dope. It's actually like them. I like how they tied it. I like how they tied it together because it turns out Doug actually went to that other unit. Well, basically, it seems like the theory was that that Ohsama Sentai, like King-Ohger, is in like a different timeline or something. It seems like they're in a different timeline, or it was also another thing they were saying where it seems like they're in another galaxy. Because they showed the planet, they showed both the planet, they showed Earth, they showed Terra, and they look very similar to each other. It's just the fact that it seemed like they're in two separate galaxies, and it's not they're in two separate galaxies. So Doug went over to Earth and actually brought back the Debos army and stuff like that, and had them sort of work for him. And he also halfway revived the Debos army leader, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna bring you back, and then why I brought you back, so now you can like start stealing all the bravery from all the people in the city, which they were taking that bravery and putting it into him, and it will slowly start to revive him even more and bring him back into power. And you see that a lot of the people around the city are like zombified, like they have no bravery, they're just sitting there or whatever. So we also saw how they're all put in the same thing. They like all our King-Ohger, they were all sent to the same planet. So that whole thing of like them being sent to different universes or whatever wasn't true. So we at least know that they're all in the same freaking place. So we get to see that there's a new QU Red because QU Red and QU Gold went after Doug, left space and went after Doug. So, but they're not in this episode at all. So that's when we also got that like little crossover thing where QU Red went to the Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger's planet and stuff like that, which is cool. But where's QU Gold? You know. But also we also met the new QU Red, or the new guy who's going to become the new QU Red. Turns out he is from the future of Q Ranger. He's the QU Ranger. He is the future Red Ranger for them, and he wants to be the king of the world. And that's how he's able to like kind of, you know, bond, I guess, with Gira, since Gira's kind of sort of him when he was a kid. It was kind of cool. Like I did like, and also liked how for some reason they couldn't, like the rest of the of our King-Ohger, they couldn't transform. But Gira could transform, and the rest of the we see, and also the QU Ranger, they can't transform either. But our new QU Red can transform. So they have lost the power of the of their Zords. I haven't seen QU Ranger in so long, but they have lost the power. You know, they have lost their powers. And since they've lost their powers, they cannot transform. And the same thing is kind of also with the King-Ohger, where they can't transform either because the Shoe Gods technically aren't there with them. And since the Shoe Gods aren't there with them, then they can't transform. But for some reason, Gira can transform. But most likely it's because of his connection with the Shoe Gods and how he can talk to them and stuff like that, which they haven't really, you know, they haven't really brought it up or whatever, or talked about how, you know, still how he can talk to the Shoe Gods and stuff. They got that thing kind of died. You know, that whole thing of him being able to talk to Shoe Gods kind of died. But we still know that he can do it. Like, we know that Gira can do it. So that's in my opinion, that's the reason why he can still don't transform because of his connection with Kiwata and the rest of the shoe guys, how you can talk to him. That's why I think he can still transform. But you guys, let me know what you guys think of why Gita can still transform. But it seems like in next episode we're going to see them be able to transform. Everybody's going to get their suits. We're going to get a awesome thing going on, and I'm wondering how they're going to get back to their universe. But this episode was actually really cool. I did like how they were able to help the new Kyu Red learn how to transform, because in the beginning of the episode we see that they're fighting a bunch of the Debos grunts, and we see he actually one-shots a giant one. And when he one-shots it, he breaks his sword, and we see that a previous Kyu Ranger was telling Kyu Green was telling him that you have to treat your sword better. Because your sword is your partner. And his sword was broken, and we see that Yanma is able to fix his sword later, and he completely changes it. Like it's not even, it's red now and everything, and it's like he completely changed it. And they ended up so after he fixed it, he thanks Yanma, but he says, hey, I got the perfect person for you to test it out on. So he ends up having to fight Gira. He ends up fighting Gira, and Gira pretends to basically be like his tyrant king persona. And that's when he, Kyu Red, new Kyu Red is accepts to take him on. And when he takes him on, he learns that, about his he learns about his sword and things like that. And he's able to bond with his new sword. And by that happening, Kiwata comes out of Gira and goes into Kyu Red's changer, and he gets the blessing of him. And now, like, when he transforms later into his Kyu Red form, it somewhat resembles like the Ohsama Sentai suits, to where they have like that side cape and stuff like that, while also still having the dinosaur theme. It looked cool. It looked really dope. I did like that feature that they did, but still, him and Gira are the only ones that can still transform. So what they ended up fighting off a bunch of Debos grunts and stuff. They ended up fighting this general dude, and they ended up destroying him, but he was still able to collect enough bravery to be able to revive the Debos leader. And when he revived him, he starts attacking everything and stuff like that. But we do end up seeing that they do go into the caves, and when he's like when it was Kyu Black, he was basically like going through the caves, trying to figure out why they can't get their Zords and stuff, and they're finding out these cave pictures, and they end up finding out. Well, Jeremy ends up basically coming up with that my father's people were humans, and they migrated from this planet to Terra. And I was like, how? Because the cave picture showed the castle that showed Shogunam's castle, but it was like it was the Megazord form of the castle. It was that with a planet up under it. So I'm thinking, how did they connect this? Like this connection thing that got going on is weird, but it's really interesting, but it's also weird. I see how they're also connecting these two places, but excuse me. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. I'm giddy because this episode was really cool, and I can't wait to see the next one. But yeah, man, like, and we also saw that Amy, Kyu Pink, she is like in the middle of this forest, and she ends up finding the Zords. They end up finding all their Zords. So now she's most likely going to try and free them. I don't know how she's going to do it, but most likely she's going to free them, and then when she frees them, then they'll be able to have their powers back. But also with our King-Ohger, I wonder how they're going to get their powers back as well. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this. And then I like this. I did like this. I like how they showed that Doug was also attacking the Kyu Rangers. He was also attacking them, and they knew who he was as well. They knew who he was, and the fact that he teamed up with Debos and brought all the Debos like army members and stuff back, like it was a whole thing. And I kind of want like an episode that like I kind of want like a mini like small episode, a little thing showing how all that happened, which will be dope. I know they're not gonna do it, but at the same time, I did like the fact that he also went to that part of that galaxy, I guess. Because I don't think it's another universe. I think it's just another galaxy. Maybe. You guys let me know. Cause I just think it's another galaxy. But yeah, you guys let me know. But it's really cool. It's really dope. I can't wait to see how they're going to get their powers back. I can't wait to see how they're going to actually get back home. Because I don't think this is going to be a 3-part thing. I think they're going to do this in the next episode and get back home. But other than that, I did want to see, maybe they'll do this in the next episode after this, but I did want to see how is Terra, like, you know, dealing with this. Like how are the kingdoms actually dealing with what's going on, and are they gonna have a hand in getting back to their universe? Are we getting back to their world? Are they gonna have a hand in that? Because I can see something like that happening. Maybe, you know, somebody like the people in Inkastopa could figure something out. You know, they're highly technology based, so I mean it's not out of the question that they could make, you know, portals and things like that. So yeah, but I wonder how the other kingdoms are handling it. But with that being said, guys, you guys let me know what you guys thought of this episode of Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know all that down in the comment section below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. And remember, stay henshined.